Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review in my journey through the films of horror of the 1980s. And this time is Alligator. Now, despite the cover makes it look like a sci-fi channel film. It's not. This is a film from 1980 and a damn good one. It's underrated. It's a gem of a film. It's one of the best creature feature, like killer animal flicks out there. And I know I've talked about this film quite a few times in the past, but it deserves it, and more so. Because this is still an underrated gem that doesn't even have a Blu-ray. As I'm doing this video right now, there's no Blu-ray. Why? I have no idea. Now, this DVD was released by Lionsgate, so I don't know if they still own it or who owns it, but this is directed by Lewis Teague. Now, Lewis Teague would go on to do Cujo, Cat's Eye, and Navy SEALs. And this is a film that Stephen King was a big fan of, which helped lead Lewis Teague to directing films like Cujo and Cat's Eye. The writing was done by John Sayles, who's a very talented writer. And with this movie, you can see that he didn't want to just do a typical lackluster creature feature. He wanted to go the extra mile, meaning fun dialogue, interesting characters, and also great cast, headed by Robert Forster. Robert Forster, who would go on to work with Quentin Tarantino and Jackie Brown. My favorite role from Robert Forster is in this movie. I love his character. He's a very likable, down-to-earth lead character. I mean, one of the first things we see him is he's talking with his shopkeeper. And the shopkeeper is like talking about Forster's hair. Oh yeah, patch on the back, thing on the front. Me, I got the same thing too. Same thing, same thing. So this is not someone who is 100% quote perfect. He is more a relatable, down-to-earth human being who we can relate to very easily. And Robert Forster just had a great charm to his character, and the very nice script by John Sayles helps that a lot. And the story is pretty simple. There have been these, I guess scientists is the best way to call them. They test on animals, including animals just found out and about, like runaway dogs, or not even runaway dogs. Some of them are just stolen by the shopkeeper that we see early in the film. And what these scientists do is they do animal trials on hormones. Something to do about, hey, there's famine, there's starvation. If we're able to make food bigger, like cattle, things of that nature, maybe we can solve the problem. So they test on animals, including dogs. And one thing they do with the dogs, which was kind of a creepy thing, is they mess with the larynx to keep the noise level down in the labs. And the shopkeeper, when he gets the bodies of the animals, dumps them in the sewers. And the very first scene in the movie, we see years and years ago, before the film, there was a pet alligator that was flushed down the toilet and landed in the sewers and was probably feasting on these test animals for years. That's why it becomes such a gigantic alligator. And I'm trying to think where to go with this, because there's a lot of things to like about the film. Like I said, Robert Forster, the dialogue. For example, the dialogue, one of the early conversations Robert Forster has is with another guy who tells him a story about, oh, we found this toe, and yeah, we couldn't find the body. We had a funeral and everything. And Robert Forster says, must have been a small casket. There's a little bit of backstory to the lead character where a former partner was killed because, not really a mistake, but he thought a gun was on him, on his back, and he found out later it was a roll of pennies, but there was no way he could have known, and that led to his partner dying. So you get a little bit of sympathy for the lead character. You have this female who is very knowledgeable on animals and alligators. And her and Robert Forster get a little bit of love connection going. You have Michael Gazzo as the captain, who's definitely has a great voice. I thought he worked well in that role. Henry Silva has a supporting role as a big game hunter. He's in the film a little bit. Henry Silva, of course, was the bad guy in Above the Law and Code of Silence. One thing leads to another. Robert Forster goes into the sewers with this guy who volunteers. And there's some really capable direction by Lewis Teague. For example, when Robert Forster and this guy are looking at the map, and they're using the light, and the illumination of light, we see behind them, in a little crevice on the wall, is the alligator. And the main characters don't see it because they're looking at the map, but we, the audience, see it. And briefly, to me, go, wait a minute, did I just see that? But it brings a nice bit of suspense to the proceedings. But it also gives you your gore, your appetite for destruction. For example, there's a point where the alligator literally crashes through the ground in this street and bites the leg off of a cop. Later on, it's going through pools and it's settling in a pool. And at night, these kids are having this third kid walk the plank on the swimming pool. They don't notice there's a gator down there. They push the kid in, and then they look down, they see a bunch of blood. And it's like, oh shit, alligator killed a kid. Very rare thing. Because they don't do that often in movies. There's a point where the cops are trying to bomb the lake and trying to find it. And the alligator rises up, so the boat bumps off it and people go in the water. Some get eaten. And one guy tries to get back into the boat and his legs get bitten off. So again, it definitely gives you the visceral moments as well as a fun sense of humor. Even the bit where when all the hoopla's happening and you have people literally selling merchandise on alligators. Like, despite the fact people have been killed and all this stuff happening, there's people still selling stuff on alligators. Hey, get this toy alligator. Make you wiggle, make you giggle. And I like the fact that it usually in films like this, it's in a very small town, or it's out in the boonies, so no one knows anything that's going on. But here it takes place in the city. I'm trying to remember what city it was in. Was it Chicago? I can't remember what city this took place in. But it is a city. And I like that they don't go a whole movie where no one, yeah, you're out of your mind. No one believes them. It's not too long where there's actual evidence and the cops do believe what's going on. And I like that because that way you're able to have more. Because if they did it the other way, then maybe you would not have as much action or destruction by the alligator. Because, well, if people see it, then they can't think of the lead character as crazy. So it's like, no, let's get it in there so that we can have as much fun as we can with this premise. And that's the thing, like, you think of a big alligator movie, this is really what really has all the stuff that you want. The visceral thrills, the sense of humor. I love when movies back in the day had stuff set in the sewers. Because the sewers are such claustrophobic setting, but yet, to me, it's a great creepy atmosphere for a film. Whether it be in this film, or Chud, or even like Watchers 2, many others. I always love the sewer setting in a horror film. Yeah, just that claustrophobia mixed in with the darkness, mixed in with, you know, in your mind there's a lot of crummy stuff in there, so it's not the happiest place to be. And again, I thought Lewis Teague did a very capable job directing. The lighting in the sewers, the handling of the attack sequences, the effects on the gator I think look fine. They look good to me. And easily take this over the CGI crap that's on Sci-Fi Channel nowadays. A lot of entertaining moments, like when the lady asks him, "What are you gonna do?" And he's like, "Well, I'm gonna find the alligator," and flips his keys, catches it. "I'm gonna kick his ass." Another fun one is that he's trying to get this lady to go to dinner, and he's like, "Well, you know, during dinner I'm going to be nervous, wondering if you don't come back with me back to my place." Then she kisses him, and Robert Forster goes, "Can I take this as a definitive yes?" So, I mean, like I said, John Sayles' script really makes this head and shoulders above a lot of movies of this genre. Also, you know, taking place in the city. Robert Forster's very likable character. The fairly decent effects on the alligator. The very competent direction. I mean, even at the ending where this rich asshole guy who fucked over Robert Forster and got him fired, the alligator like fucks up this wedding, and it's at this guy named Slade's mansion, and the tail's hitting guests and throwing them all around, hitting him with his tail. He eats some of the guests. You got blood everywhere. It takes his tail and smashes the shit out of the limo, killing the old man, you know, asshole, sort of our human villain, crushes his ass. Before that, took another asshole, banged his head against the window till there's blood everywhere. I mean, you get your money's worth in the flick. And at the end of the film, have a trap for the alligator. Robert Forster blows at the Kingdom Come, blows it to pieces. The only slight nitpick I have is that they leave a little bit of a sequel bait ending because they showed that another baby alligator has landed in the sewer. You didn't need that. I know there's Alligator II: The Mutation, which I have reviewed on the channel long ago, so if you want to check out my review, probably just go up and type Alligator II: The Mutation review. I doubt many people have reviewed it. Or go to my channel and type in Alligator on the channel. You'll find it. But Alligator II: The Mutation, not nearly as good as the first one. You know, the lead is not as strong as Robert Forster. The production value, you could tell, is lower. It doesn't have much of the fun, visceral moments that this one has. It definitely doesn't have the good writing that this film has. So Alligator II: The Mutation is a pretty lame sequel, but this one, I recommend anyone who's into this kind of movie. This is definitely one of the gems of the 80s that isn't talked about enough. And what's nice is the DVD does have commentary with director Lewis Teague and actor Robert Forster. But you do get a lot more features. Oh yeah, and there's an interview with the writer John Sayles. That's another one they have on there. But you have a sit-down interview with Robert Forster, Lewis Teague, people in supporting cast or on the crew or any amount of people. But hey, what do I know? But thanks for watching, take care, and stay tuned for another review of another 80s horror film later.